So what's the real difference between people who actually get what they want in life and, well, everyone else? It's not just about being lucky or having some raw talent. It's about a very specific and actually pretty powerful shift in how you think. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can turn your biggest wishes into your actual reality.
It's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? And be so frustrating. We all have these big goals. We want to be healthier, maybe make more money, or finally start that business. But somehow they just seem to stay stuck in that someday pile forever. And the reason why isn't a lack of wanting it. It's a lack of a very, very specific kind of commitment.
So here's the game plan. We're going to walk through 5 powerful strategies, drawing from the work of peak performance trainer Adam Koo. We'll start with the biggest one, shifting from a should to a must mindset. Then we'll talk about your minimum standards, how to raise them, how to create a point of no return so you can't back out, and finally, how to use your own words to program your mind for success.
Okay, let's dive into the first one, because honestly, this is the absolute game changer. This is that psychological switch that really separates the people who make it from those who just don't. It's all about turning a vague desire into an absolute, undeniable destiny.
You can really split people into 2 groups. You've got the 95% who operate in the world of wishes and shoulds. They'll only do what's easy, and the second things get hard, they're out. But then you have that top 5%. For them, their goals are an absolute, non-negotiable must. Failure just isn't on the table, so they do whatever it takes to win.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. See, a goal that's just a should is weak. It's easy to push it off till tomorrow. But when you make it a must, whoa, something totally different happens. You tap into this whole other level of resourcefulness inside yourself. You basically become unstoppable because it feels like your very identity is on the line.
And if you want to see what this looks like in the real world, look no further than the story behind the movie Rocky. I mean, it is a perfect masterclass in what happens when you turn a dream into an absolute, undeniable must. So before Rocky, Sylvester Stallone was having a really tough time. He had partial facial paralysis, which gave him that signature slur, and every single agent he met rejected him. It got so bad he was so broke, he had to sell his own dog for $50 just to get by. I mean, he was at absolute rock bottom. Then, after he wrote the script for Rocky, he finally got an offer, and it was a huge one. Producers offered him more than $250,000 for it, an amount that eventually went way higher. For a guy who just sold his dog to eat, this was life-changing, lottery-winning money. But there was a catch. They didn't want him to be the star.
And he said no. Can you imagine? He walked away from all that money because his dream wasn't just to be a rich writer. His dream, his must, was to be an actor. He refused to negotiate on that. He held his ground, ended up taking a massive pay cut just to star in the film, and, well, you know the rest. That right there is the power of making something a must.
Okay, so this whole must mentality, it's directly linked to our next big idea, which is understanding your true minimum standard. It's all about what you are truly, deep down, willing to accept for yourself.
Here's a tough truth. In life, you don't get what you wish for. You get what you settle for. That level of acceptance is your personal bottom line. It's the minimum standard that you refuse to fall below. That is your brain's real must level. Let's put some numbers on it. Say your level of expectation, your dream, is to make $20,000 a month. Awesome. But if your level of acceptance is $3,000 a month, guess where you're going to end up? Your brain doesn't hit the panic button until you're about to drop below that $3,000 mark. To get more, you have to raise that baseline. So, the big question is, how do you actually do that? How do you consciously raise your minimum standard? Well, one of the most powerful ways is to start engineering the world around you. It's all about using the power of your environment.
Raising your standards really boils down to 2 things: getting a little dissatisfied and getting really inspired. You got to get fed up with where you are, and at the same time, get inspired by people who are playing at a much higher level. They say your life is the average of the 5 people you hang out with most, right? So if you want to raise your game, you have to start hanging out with better players. Eventually, their standards just become your new normal.
Let's be honest, our brains are kind of lazy. They're wired to take the easy way out. So, to fight that, you have to create some external pressure. This whole strategy is about creating a point of no return that literally forces you to follow through.
Here are 3 simple but super effective ways to put yourself on the line. First, make a public declaration. Tell your friends, tell your family what you're going to do.
The social pressure is real. Second, make a financial commitment. Pay for that whole year at the gym up front. And third, set a hard, non-negotiable deadline. You're basically creating a situation where it's way more painful to quit than it is to just keep going.
And this really works. The author, Adam Koo, used this exact trick to write his first book. He went to all the top publishers and promised them a finished manuscript in 6 months before he'd even written a single page. Talk about creating a point of no return. He had absolutely no choice but to sit down and get it done.
All right, our last strategy is maybe the simplest one, but it's something you can use immediately. It's all about the words you use and how you can consciously change your internal language to program your mind to take action.
Think about it. The words you use literally create your reality. When you hear someone say, "I should probably go to the gym," there's just no power there, no conviction. But when you hear, "I must go to the gym," you can feel the difference, right? That little word change creates a totally different emotional state. So I want you to start paying attention to your internal dialogue. Start policing it. Every single time you catch yourself thinking, "I should," or "I wish," I want you to consciously swap it out with "I must." It's such a simple change, but it instantly fires off a sense of urgency and power in your brain, and it really does compel you to act.
So as we wrap things up here, I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. What is that one thing, that one goal that's been a should for way too long? And what would it take for you to make it an absolute, non-negotiable must, starting right now, today?